affected by my dad's reaction. I was neither here nor there mentally or spiritually, especially at that point. But it was an interesting observation at that age to see this polar sort of, like fisticuffs or fracas about this water splashing. So then it kicked into my brain, right? So I guess like for a while I was sort of like, God-fearing, I said like a prayer or two at night and whatever, but not like, it didn't say God, or maybe it did, I don't know. But so where does that put Sean? Where does that leave Sean, and how did that kind of like play out a little bit with Sean? Two things. Okay, so I have what I guess you could call a minor in world religion, and a bit of a preoccupation with world religion, among, of course, 7 jillion other things, as is well evidenced in these shows. And I wouldn't say preoccupation with Catholicism or the Catholic Church is, and again, you guys calm down, I don't really mean it in that way, okay? So don't freak out. I really don't. It's really to make a point here about my sort of take on Catholicism, and not in a religious kind of way, necessarily. I see the Catholic Church like Roman Polanski. I see the Catholic Church very similar to the way I see Roman Polanski. Now, in that sense only, I see it as such. Debatably, let's say, for example, Rosemary's Baby, which is, there's courses on it, that it is the perfect film. And I think I'm going to do a show on that sometime soon. That's neither here nor there. But it is a brilliant piece of work. It's a masterpiece that I can watch, on a loop. So therefore, I appreciate that aesthetic, but in order to fully sort of kind of appreciate it with focus, I have to separate the aesthetic from the artist or the artist's behavior. Much in the same way, I have a preoccupation, shall we say, with the Catholic Church from an aesthetic point of view. So that's the analogy, is that the aesthetics of Catholicism fascinate the hell out of me, no pun intended. But of course I don't, certainly don't subscribe to their belief system. Of course I don't subscribe, and we will only just brush over that very quickly, I don't subscribe to Mr. Polanski's behavior. Of course, that's atrocious, especially to me. But I can't therefore throw out the baby with the bathwater, and I know that's a very glib way of putting it. But if I were to see, as a student of film, Rosemary's Baby potentially being like, let's say, for example, the perfect film, and I have been obsessed with Polanski since 14, just ask Mr. Spielberg, I wrote him a letter about it. I have to separate that aesthetic from that undercurrent, whether it's the behavior, the belief system, whatever. I just have to. I don't have to, but I choose to. And so that is very much how I see Catholicism as we speak, as an aesthetic appreciation, very exclusive from its system of beliefs. Now, sort of to wrap things up, kind of where did that kind of put Sean, if we're going to do all this like talk about the Catholic aesthetic, and that's, what does that mean, right? I just want to sort of mean the aesthetic, right? You get the general idea. How that played out when I was in that year that we are all so bored hearing about, my 14th year, when I went full force like Black Flag punk rock. My signature, the whole time I was hardcore punk rock, which, was only like roughly a year less, my aesthetic was religion and punk, meaning my signature for quite some time was, I'll give you an example, a tattered yellow acrylic sweater, black, Doc Martens and jeans, and a crucifix, safety pin to my breast. Now that was kind of like always, like it was almost for a period of time, like that was my uniform. No matter what it was, there was a crucifix safety pin to my breast. It also played out in other ways because I wore rosaries. Now I know as a baptized Roman Catholic, rosaries are not jewelry; they are prayer beads. You are really not supposed to wear them. Nuns are really not even supposed to wear them. Certain religious folks of certain ethnicities choose to wear them. They are not jewelry. However, Sean, of course, wore them as jewelry. So in addition to my aesthetic of the crucifix, I would also, in this black flaggy garb, wear rosaries. Wear them as necklaces. I'll leave you with this. You can imagine the controversy that may have stirred in 1980, 1981, roaming around Santa Monica, which was a ghost town in 1980, virtually, comparatively speaking. I was in high school one day, and I had on me a rosary around my neck without the cross, without the hanging part, just the beads themselves, the prayer beads around my neck. I went to such supposedly a progressive high school, but I had this teacher. I don't remember what she was, science or I don't know what, English, science, I think, some kind of whatever. Who knows? Who cares? And she screamed at me at the top of her lungs in the hallway of a fancy schmancy private school for wearing the rosary around my neck. Get that, right? Separation of education and religion and church and state and all that. And she is full force screaming at me for wearing the rosary around my neck, to which I just remained silent, let her blow off her Catholic steam and move along. Nothing to see here. So anyway, that's kind of the jumble of today. I hope I was true to the preview. That's really what it was. And that's how I'm not going to hell. Yay! Happy day. So anyway, thanks for joining me tonight. And again, I hope you enjoy your day, whatever your day holds for you or held for you or is holding for you. And remember, accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. Okay, you guys, take care.